button on. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Live from the Westmount Shul in downtown Thornhill is the next edition of Bayam Darkecha from the teachings of Rav Morgenstern, Rav Yitzchak Meir Morgenstern. We're discussing how to eat in a spiritual way, and we began with the practical things to do. Opa. Oh man, I just lost that. That was not good. Let's go back. Okay, let's 1 second. I just lost the. Sorry about that. Just flipped on me. Oh man. What happened? I lost the whole thing. And I don't know how that does that. You just touch one thing and it turns it into an archived message. Just, man, thank God I have a little bit of talent on computers to get myself out of the messes I put myself in. Okay, so now that we've been told what to do, remember to try at least the first thing you eat in the day, to think about it, to think about the holy energies of Hashem that are coming in, to chew carefully, to think about it, not talk. Reading at least for a little bit of time. So now we're on section Dalet, subsection Dalet number 4, that gives us the next point to think about. And it's called Afilu Ma'at Choshev Ma'od. Even a little is very important. Davar Nosav Choshev Ma'od Liskor. There's another thing I have to add that's really important to mention. V'lismoach ulahachshiv ulachabed kol hatzlacha va'aliyah afilu haktana b'yoser. A person should rejoice and to consider very important and to honor any success, any growth, as small as it may be. Take pleasure in the smallest victories. V'imkach yasin. If you do that, from that strength of the joy of a small victory, you'll have strength and yearning to make efforts and to go higher and higher. Don't say, well, what did I really do? Just this little thing. No, every little thing is important. It's choshev. You got to be really careful. And don't feel disheartened and fall if you make any mistakes, if you didn't succeed. But strengthen yourself. As the Holy Book's right. Even one good thought of cleaving to Hashem is helpful. Even though a person achieves only a little, this is very important and desired for Hashem. Even one little good thought sanctifies. He relates about an old Jew who's always depressed. These might be people you know. You may know people like this. I do. He was always depressed, and it said, and the guy asked him, what are you depressed about? He says, where does the depression come from? Because he demanded so much from himself. Whoa, you know what that means? I don't know what it means. I think we just lost the connection. I think the people on Zoom may still have it. Shlomo, do you still see the screen?
Yes, Rabbi.
You're okay, but the people here have mamish lost it. So let's go back.
Can see it.
I know, but the mirroring, the people here, we lost the mirroring. So just hang on. Okay, we got it back. There's nothing like learning on Zoom. Everything you got to fix up. We already gone through 2 malfunctions. Person of less talent would have been lost by now. Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave me the talent. Without that, without Hashem's help, we'd be finished. Anyway, the guy's depressed. So why? Because he was so demanding of himself. He wanted to be successful in eating holy. I want to eat without any lusts. No lust at all. But he saw he wasn't succeeding. That put him into depression. There are people who feel they have to excel. And if I don't excel, I'm miserable. This is the depression for excellence, the depression for perfection. And Hashem knows we're not perfect. But if we have unreasonable expectations of ourselves, we'll always be going around depressed. But he says like this, no. But the truth is adarabah, the opposite. You should be happy and rejoice for every little level shel kedushas achila, of sanctity of eating, any little level. Ma shekain zacha, for whatever you merit. Va'afilu im lo zacha leklum, even if you don't merit anything, even shis ames, as long as you're strengthening yourself. That's what we get the right direction. Azai. You should be happy just in trying. Did you have a desire to succeed in sanctifying your eating? This is for everything, not just sanctifying. Whatever spiritual project you're in, the fact that you're trying, Hashem values effort much more than product. If you're making a serious effort to grow spiritually, even if you fail, Hashem is happy that he sees you're making an effort. And the Yetzer Hara, his job is to convince you you're a failure. But Hashem says, I want to see how much effort he makes. So if the Yetzer Hara convinces you that you're a failure, then you stop making effort. The Yetzer Hara wins. Hashem says, what interests me is to see your effort, and every little success is important. And we know this is true in special education. In special education, we quote unquote dumb things down for them. We teach in a way where they can succeed, even though it's very small successes. But once somebody succeeds in a small area, it builds up confidence. So therefore, when we're looking to grow spiritually, pick a very small goal and don't fool yourself and say, well, what did I do? It's just a little bit. For you, that's not a little bit. To be able to even think for 15 seconds that this food is coming from Hashem, and that somehow this is the divine light of Hashem that's in the food, and somehow something special is happening. And when you taste the food and for a few moments, you're chewing it carefully, if you only for a few seconds, and then for hours and hours, you're a slob. But the fact you could break through a little bit is significant in Hashem's eyes. You got to know that. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that becomes your whole life. And you always say, well, I can always just do 1% my whole life. No, you do the 1% when you're comfortable with the 1% and go to the 2%. That's the way it's always meant to be. Listen, if little children would think like this, no children would ever talk or walk. It's a lot you can learn from little children. How many times do my grandchildren fall before they really can walk well? They fall more times than they walk. And guess what? They don't give up. You know why? Because Hashem put it in the nature of a human being not to give up. When do they give up? When the older people who are failures teach them to be failures. Let's not try. And failure, we think failure is so terrible. Failure is not terrible. Remember, you can only fail if you try. What's worse is not trying. That's worse. Failing, if you tried and you failed, okay, you tried and you failed. You could learn from the mistakes. You can grow from the mistakes, but if you don't try, there's nothing to learn. There's nothing to grow from. Baruch Hashem, every baby who does not have real physical disorders, they all learn to walk. Can you imagine? 100% out of 100% of healthy babies learn to walk and talk, even though they're abysmal failures in the beginning. You know why? Because they made a little growth. Now that what happens when you're a baby. Why should it change when you get older? Innately, God made you that way. You could do anything, but learn to walk. Do it that way. And what happens when the baby, the first time your little baby stands up for a second, then falls, everybody's so happy. He stood for a fraction of a second. Now, the pessimist will say, well, I don't think he's ever going to walk. He could hardly stay up this time. What a disaster. What a loser of a kid I have. Now, you know how foolish that parent would be? You don't understand. It's the first time he tried to lock his knee joint to stand. That was an amazing movement forward. Because if he doesn't learn that once, even for a second, he's never going to walk. So that we're so happy with the baby. Oh, he got up for a second. So why can't we look at it the same way we were working on our avodas Hashem? Does it really change? It doesn't change. And then you go up from level to level. And if you're happy with the little success, look at this. Look at the rule he puts in. I'll say because with that power, he would elevate level from level. And look at this, how he applies this rule in an amazing way. There's a rule. He who has 100 wants 200. Now, usually that rule is used for negative. He who has 100 wants 200, which means person's never satisfied. Here's the question. Is that human nature? Absolutely. Why does Hashem give us such a rotten human nature? He who has 100 wants 200. Because who said 100 is dollars? Who said 100 is dollars? He who has 100 mishnayos isn't satisfied with 100 mishnayos. He wants 200 mishnayos. Human nature is not to never be satisfied with what money you have. That's the corruption of the rule. Hashem put on our nature to never be satisfied with our spiritual level. And just like the rule says, if you have 100, you want 200, because you feel I could have 200. And therefore, I'm missing 100. And he who has 200 wants 400 because he feels he's missing 200. Person's never satisfied with what he has. But that was meant to be employed in spiritual realms. You're learning how to read Hebrew. I'm not satisfied. There must be things I could read now that I can read Hebrew. Must be things I can learn. Satisfied. Now I ate for 1 minute in a holy way. That's great, but I'm not satisfied. I could eat for 2 minutes. Remember, only double. Don't go all the way into a whole day long. I'm not satisfied with 1 minute. I've been doing 1 minute for a couple of weeks. You know, it's getting boring. Let's do 2 minutes. And work on that for a while. Remember, only after you get the first 100 are you dissatisfied that you don't have 200. But what about the guy who has nothing? Interesting. The rule starts, he who has 100 wants 200. What about he who has nothing?
Doesn't know what he wants.
If he has nothing, he wants nothing. That's implied in the rule, because it could have said he who has nothing wants 100. Didn't start that way. Only after you have 100 do you want 200. Only after you've succeeded do you want more success. The hardest dollar to make, there's a reason why in business, you know, there's a secular idea. They frame the first dollar you made. I don't know if they do it anymore.
Yeah.
Marshall, do you have a dollar hung up in your store? Nah, you're not into that. Well, because the first dollar is the hardest dollar to make. Once you make the first dollar, you can make others. So the same thing over here. It's a positive characteristic. I'm not happy with 1 minute of success with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I want 2 minutes. Okay, try it. Ad Shibirtz, so this goes on. Ad Shibirtz Hashem Yisparach He could reach to a point where he could reach levels of tzaddikim, because that's all shenitanas b'matnas Hashem Yisbarach, as it's given as a gift from Hashem. As we see in the Mesil Sharm, as you move up and up the spiritual ladder, one of the highest ladders is kedusha, holiness. And he writes, Tchilas avoda, it begins with work, but sofa matanam Hashem Yisbarach. The end, it's a gift from Hashem. Spiritual growth, it's really humanly impossible to be holy. It has to come with a gift, but Hashem only gifts it to those who've tried their hardest. V'zehu derech hakedusha ha'amidis. That's the true way of kedusha. Pamim olim, sometimes up, upamim yordim, sometimes you go down. Vikar shu oises mashi b'chol lasos. The main thing is do what you're able to do. Umistokek lalos od, and you yearn to go further. Why? Because together with that, you have to do what you're capable of doing. You have to know how valuable yearning is. There's a great value to wanting something badly. Even though you didn't succeed completely the way you wanted to, but the fact you're yearning to eat in holiness, that's an awesome thing. Why? Because the truth is, what makes a Jew charming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu above? When Hashem looks down, a little baby, everyone goes, the baby's so cute. How does Hashem look at you with so much favor? What do you have to do to make Hashem like you? It's not necessarily the levels you actually reached. The main thing is, what are your true yearnings? So you have towards Hashem. Hashem wants to know what you really want. Person says, I really want to be close to Hashem, but I don't know how to get there. Hashem says, that's great. The guy says, my real yearning is to make a lot of money, to be fantastic and popular and everything, and I wouldn't mind being a religious Jew too. Hashem says, well, that I don't find that much charm in you. I want someone who really wants to be close to me, even though he's not capable right now. Now in the brackets he adds, Ella, but Shem Adam Rak Mishuk, but if you only yearn, but there's zero action, you don't do anything, then you prove you're a phony. That shows your yearning isn't true. If you do what you're able to do, even what you don't succeed in, it's very important because you want it. So to summarize, what Hashem wants, what do you really want? What do you really want as a Jew? Do you want to be close to me? Do you want to behave in holy ways? You really want to? So first of all, Hashem says, I don't know if you mean it or you're daydreaming. You're fantasizing. God's not interested in fantasies. He's interested in true desires. What's the difference between someone who fantasizes and someone who truly desires? The guy who truly desires is making actual effort. He's spending time, money, and energy. If he fails, he fails. But he really tried. Success isn't what's that important to Hashem as much as what you really want, because Hashem will decide if you succeed. And sometimes Hashem decides that you should fail for a while because he's testing you to know if you really mean what you're saying. So wanting is very important. The success is only an indicator that you really wanted it. Now, how much success? You don't need a lot of success, just a little success. So I know there's people who say, listen, I've tried 1,000,000 times, it didn't work, but you tried. You could have not tried 1,000,000 times. Maybe 1,000,001 will be the successful time. Maybe learn from the mistakes that you made. We minimize, in the secular world, this is worth nothing. In the secular world, they're only interested in results. They couldn't care less about anything else. Judaism is not a results-based religion. It's an honest desire. And Hashem knows if you're fooling him or not. And therefore, how are we going to know you really want this? Pick a small success and be happy with the small successes that you have. And then when you really are comfortable and you're getting too comfortable, You should be unhappy with where you're at and then move on to the next thing. And now he emphasizes this even more in the next hey, afilu machshava achas mo'ila. Even one thought helps. Va'afilu im yachtov lech v'kedusha. Lapavas pam b'shvo. Even if you grab the opportunity, eat holy, even one time a week. Let's say only once in the whole week did I stop, really think about the bracha, take the first bite slowly and eat it carefully with the right thoughts. It was a whole 15 seconds out of a whole week. It's like one prayer during the week. We have a rule, the Baal Shem Tov says, a lot of times we don't have kavanah when we daven. Baal Shem Tov says, if you have one good prayer during the week, it raises all the prayers of the week, as it says in the Zohar. The Zohar tells us. Same thing with eating. One moment of eating in holiness, it elevates all the eatings of the week. So at least grab one to sanctify yourself. At least one. Because why? Because it's telling us what you really want. If you don't even do one, that means you're fooling everybody. You're not interested in this at all. And your all eating is a waste of time. But if one time you do it, that means you're demonstrating, I really would like to do this, but I just find the rest overwhelming. Hashem says, well, your whole eating is, you're going to look at differently once you do it once.
How can you stop couch lock?
How can you stop what?
Couch lock. When you're stuck on the couch, you don't want to get up. You don't want to do that. You don't have your ruts on. You will.
How do you stop couch like you have no ruts on? Just get off the couch. Jump into the sea of reed. Just get off the couch. That's it. Tell somebody, if you see me on the couch, give me a kick in the tuchus and get me off of this place. That's the only, just get up. You can do this.
It comes from depression. Right?
I understand.
Taking on too big of a-
Some people need to take medications. You may need to take medications, but just get up and do it. He said, "Cloud gadol b'chol." This is the rule in everything. Shetzarich tamid litfos ashav mashchol. Grab now what you can get. This minute, you can get up. Yes, so get up. What's it going to matter? The doctor said I only have 6 months to live. Fine, get up this minute. You got this minute to live. Live this minute. Oh, what's help to eat with holiness? I'm a big jerk. I'm a big fresser. But right now, for this 1 minute, can you eat properly? Yeah, I can. So do it. Just do it. So say, don't do it the whole day. Do it right now. You not live in the moment. They say live in the moment. They use that to allow all types of averos. But really live in the moment is do all types of mitzvahs. Right now you can do the mitzvah. Do it. That's it. But I'm not going to do the rest of the week. Fine. Don't be seduced by the evil inclination that tells you, listen, you're not on this level. Listen, you're not really a tzaddik. So if you're not a tzaddik, give it up completely. Why are you even reading this book? You're never going to be a tzaddik. You're never going to eat like a Hasidic Rebbe. Why are you wasting your time going to the class? You got to overcome the lies. And to know that dafka one time of fighting back. It's not going to change you into a tzaddik. Granted. But it's very important in Hashem's eyes. Why? Here's the point. You know you're going to fail another 50 times. But this time I will pass. You know what you're declaring so loud and clear? When you try the one time, even though you know you're going to fail right afterwards, you're screaming out and announcing, She'ein mechapes lios mashu. You're not looking to be a somebody. Wow. Why do we want to take on new projects and succeed a lot of times? Gaiva. Look, I could prove I could do something. I can prove I'm a somebody. Look, I used to be a fresser. Now I eat in holiness. They look at me. Ooh, he's a holy man. Whatever it is, he learns Torah every day. But if you know you're going to fail afterwards, so why are you doing it now? Why you know, and you are going to fail afterwards. One time's going to make you a somebody. No, it won't. I know it won't make me a somebody. But you know what it'll do? It will give Hashem satisfaction. But with what I can give Hashem satisfaction. It's all about making Hashem satisfied with you. One thing's for sure, when you spend 15 seconds properly making a bracha and eating like a Jew, Hashem is happy with that. Of course, he'd like more. But you see, that's what you're saying your ratzon is. It's not about me being glorified, that I'm a somebody. Being a somebody in Yiddishkeit is not always a healthy thing. But to know I can give Hashem happiness now. Afterwards, you're going to be a bum. I know. But right now, I want to make Hashem happy. And that's all that's going to come out of that. Yeah.
But it also gives you self-esteem and confidence that you can succeed to go to the next level.
Of course.
It's not about
that's true. I'm not denying that. He said that in the first half of the class. You'll get self-confidence from it. There's no question about it. But the Yetzer Hara is going to not let you think about that. Yetzer Hara is saying, listen, either way, you're not such a tzaddik. That's the argument. You're right. But when the Yetzer Hara's got you by the throat and says, listen, you know what kind of schmo you are. What's it going to help? 15 seconds doesn't help because 99.9% of your time you're a fresser. What does it help to go to a shiur once a week when the rest of the time you're watching Netflix the whole day long? What does it help? What did it help that for this half an hour you weren't watching Netflix and you went to a shiur? What does it help? We know what kind of schmo you are. The answer is, yeah, I know what kind of schmo I am too. And you know what? You know who benefits from this? Only Hashem. I'm doing it to show Hashem that I want to make him happy. It's not that I have to be a somebody. That's why people who feel they're not going to be scholars in learning, why should I bother to learn? I'm never going to be a somebody in learning. I'm always going to be that schmo who just has to listen to the rabbi spoon feed me. Okay, let's say it is. But at least you're making Hashem happy. Is that worth anything to you? That's what puts you, Hashem is charmed when you do that. See, people think, what's one? One is nothing. Because we got the secular mindset.
Amalek, go big or go nothing.
What? Yeah. What's that?
Go big or go
Amalek?
Amalek. Yeah.
Oh, Amalek. Amalek, go big or go nothing. Exactly. So no, we say, do you want to make Hashem happy? Yes. Even a little bit of happy is good. So when you're doing this one time, you know you're going to get no covet out of this. But Hashem will be happy. And once you start considering Hashem's happiness, then you might start thinking other things. Okay, let's just finish up. Kizos Serchledas, you have to listen very well. Sometimes a person works hard and goes up. And he falls from his holiness for all kinds of reasons. But God forbid, don't give up. Start from the beginning to sanctify and purify yourself. And then, not only will you be like you were before, he can be even more than what he was before he fell. Every time you fall, just remember, that doesn't mean that's who you are. You can try and you can be better. Just like the kid. The kid stood up and fell. So what's he going to do? I'm never going to get up again. No, get up again. And you know what? You'll get up again and you'll stand longer. And eventually you're going to walk. Now, this all happened to all of us. Why don't we believe it in anything else? That's much more important than walking. At the end of the day, if you can't walk, it's not the end of the world. Is it? But if you can't be a spiritual person, that's devastating. So you all were able to do it. and you succeeded behind your wildest dreams, and you all walk with effortlessly, you don't think you can't be a spiritual person effortlessly, but you got to be willing to try as hard as you did when you walked. The only difference is you were a child and you didn't worry what people thought about it. You didn't think so much, you just did it. So maybe think less and do more. And that's the solution. Okay, we got to stop here. Sorry, got to cut down on that. And
Rabbi,
we'll
you will send Parashalite email, correct?
I'm trying to. I'm behind. I got a
Okay.
lot behind. I'm working on it.
Yes.
I'm really working, guys.